Hey Coach, it's Coach Simpson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have a chance and you haven't already done so, I'd appreciate if you would like this video or comment on any questions you may have or subscribe to this channel. Trying to continue to grow this channel, put out as much free content as I can. For those of you who have not been on my channel before, I've got a lot more information on my website, fbcoachsimpson.com. This week in my membership group, I allowed them to pick on what the theme was going to be for this week, and no surprise to me or probably anyone else, they chose Buck Sweep. So the theme this week will be over Buck Sweep. Next month, there'll be another poll and they'll get to vote on what they want that theme to be. On that note, it is membership week or membership month over at my website. If you're interested in becoming a member and getting behind the scenes access, there's about 6 hours of video content on there right now, and there'll be more added, as well as, because it is membership month, a free book. So even if you don't want to be a member, you might as well do that to save a little bit of money if you're interested in purchasing one of my books. Talk about Buck Sweep this week. So there's a couple different things I want to hit when we get into Buck. First is formations that are going to help you run this. I'm a huge believer that if we're going to run a play, we want to be able to run it no matter what. I don't want to be able to allow a defense to get me out of what I want to do. I want to have built-in answers to handle that. And one of those answers is we're going to use different formations to get the look we want to run the play we want to run. Second thing we'll talk about in the next video will be over influencing. What are some ways we can use Buck Sweep action to influence different players, different directions? And what are some things we might be able to pair with that? Or some ways we might be able to manipulate guys up front to get them blocked. And then finally, I'll talk about different tags that we can use. What are some things we can run off of Buck? And if they're going to run this, then we're going to go to this. So a lot of if-then type deal. So today we're going to talk about formations. So we'll run Buck Sweep. This is my base formation. I didn't put a quarterback or running back there, but basically we're going to live in what I would consider to be 21 personnel. Some people call it 12 personnel. We're going to have a tight end wing surface to the strong side, and we're usually going to have our receivers split out. So there are problems the teams give you when they're trying to stop Buck Sweep. And so these are the potential problems you may have. First is they may have more guys outside here than you can block. So a lot of teams will put a 9 technique or outside backer, then they'll have another overhang and then even another overhang, kind of safety guy. You can't get them all blocked, and if that guy's kind of a dude, he steps in and makes tackles, okay? You could just have a really, really good 9 technique, and I'm going to get to a couple ways we handle this guy to get him blocked, and some of that's going to deal with influencing and tags as well, but there are a few things formationally that we can do if they've got a really, really good athlete there that's giving us problems. You have a safety. Sometimes those safeties will come down and make a ton of tackles because they're hard to account for. Kind of goes in with the numbers and the DBs. You can formation those guys out of the picture if you do it right. Then you have a 1 technique who may be an issue for you. So formations can help a little bit in that. We get a lot of under front looks. And then play side linebackers. So these are your potential problems that you may have running Buck Sweep. You may not have all of them, but you may have some of them or one of them. And you got to kind of have, what are we going to do? I still want to run Buck Sweep. That's kind of our thing, but we got to have an answer. So I put down just a couple different formations that we do. This is our base formation. So most teams are probably spending 60% of their practice time or more lining up to this set. So they have different answers for how they want to go. And so early in a game, we're going to run this set. We're going to see how they line up. And we know because we've run this set enough, we run Buck Sweep enough, these are going to be some potential problems that we need to come back and we need to handle. So we're going to do that through formations. So I'm going to walk through just a few. But my big thing this offseason has been to study formations to make sure that we are ready to handle these different problems. And we'll find out, I guess, next year if that works or not. One of our formations is a flex formation. So in flex, we simply, I'll take the defensive guys off the board here real quickly. We simply split our Y off out of tight end. Usually he's about 2 to 3 yards. We like to do this against 3-4 teams. Okay, so you get a 3-4 team with a really good 9 technique. And now what we have done is we've made that kid declare, are you going to play a 9 technique inside of me, or are you going to play a 9 technique outside of me? So a couple little things we'll do in flex. What I'm talking about is this player right here. So if that guy's an issue, he's coming just screaming off the edge and taking care of buck sweep, we'll go to this kind of nasty split and slowly widen our splits to give ourselves a little bit more space. We also, a lot of times, by doing that, are going to give a free release to one of these two guys. Either our strong tackle is going to get a free release to this inside backer, or our B, depending on how they want to play it. So if it's a bear front, and they have that guy sitting right here, then our wing is getting a free release right there. Our tight end, by being up, should be able to get off the ball a little bit more as well and get a free release on buck. So a lot of times, we get a double free release. If they have an end right here, then at least our tight end's getting now that free release. A lot of times those 9 techniques will blow you up, stick that tight end down, and then they can't get off it. So going flex gives us some answers for that. Okay? The other thing we'll do is we'll go flop. Okay, so the other problem I talked about was numbers. So we get into this set right here. Flop for us takes our receiver and brings him over here to basically a trips look. So a lot of time we talked about that number problem that you may have running buck sweep. Well, if we bring our receiver over here, now we force the DBs to rotate a little bit differently. Now they can still get numbers there, but it may be a different guy. So a lot of times it forces them to clean their numbers up by taking that extra run fitter that we can't really block and widening him out here. Okay? A lot of times we'll tell this guy to even go crack the safety and make that corner come all the way in here to try to make a tackle. So that's one way we do is we'll go flop. Okay? Another thing we'll do is we'll go empty. So our empty set looks like this. That's our empty look. What this does a lot of times is it really cleans up these numbers. Okay? So for us, one and an empty, a lot of times the defense will have a whole different check. They'll run to go to some kind of too high look, or they'll go to some kind of different look, maybe a kind of a sky type look where everybody's deep. Okay, because you're an empty. For whatever reason, the defenses see empty, and they just assume we better have whatever this check is. And so a lot of times by watching film, you'll know that. The other thing it does, though, is it puts trips over here away from our tight end wing surface. So it really gives problems to DBs of how are they going to line up. Are they, most DBs or defensive systems have a trips check. So are they going to run their trips check and really lose numbers over here? And you say, well, I don't want to run my quarterback on buck sweep. I don't really want to run him either all the time. But we'll line up like this, and then we'll quick motion and then run it. Okay? I've gotten them to line up where I wanted them. I took care of the problem, which was numbers, by lining them up over there, but I still ran the same play. It's literally the same kid running the same play. But by lining up an empty, I've cleaned up my problem. Okay? Another problem you may have, again, we talked about is this guy right here. He just may be a stud. That outside linebacker could be a 9 taking his hand to the ground. He may just be a guy that you look and go, I don't know if we got anyone that can block him. Well, the next video I'm going to talk about shows a couple different techniques we use, but if we just want to avoid blocking him in general, we run what we call a yo. Okay, for us, yo puts our tight end over here. Okay, well, a lot of times we'll run what we call yo flop, kind of goes together. We'll put our tight end over here. We'll have a receiver here. Our wing will go here. And we'll have a receiver over here. So we'll get into this look right here. Well, 99% of defenses, if they see this look, are going to call strength to the tight end. So if they've got a stud 9 technique, he's probably been coached all week. You go to the tight end, you go to the strength. So now that kid who I couldn't block to run buck, he's lined up over here. And so now we're going to run buck sweep against their second best defensive end, which is what we want. So again, I want to run buck sweep no matter what. I don't want you to be able to line up and stop me running this. And so one of the ways that we do this is through formations. In the next couple of videos, I'm going to talk about how we use influence blocking on different players, and then how we use tags to make sure our buck sweep is always able to be run. If you haven't done so, again, I would really appreciate if you'd like and subscribe to this channel, or if you get any questions that you want me to handle, please comment in the section here and I'll get to them. Don't forget, it is membership month over at my site. You can join over 50 guys now that are members in the first month. I think they're probably just doing it to get the free book, but there's also about 5 to 6 hours of video content in there that are going to go a lot more in detail on this and how we actually scheme for several real games to give you actual footage of something that happened so that you can take that and apply it and use it in your program as well. Appreciate your time and hope to see you soon.